Hey everybody, it's Drew from Building the Pride. Kind of spontaneously coming to you for a mock draft Monday. It's the week of the draft. I have a ton of energy and don't know what to do with it. So here we are. I'm gonna hit Mike up on Discord real quick. Just let him know. Hey man, I'm gonna do a mock if you want to join. We'll see if he jumps in. That'd be cool. But it's the week of the draft. The dreams haven't started yet, but I fully anticipate that they will. Okay. So let me go to Mock Draft Simulator. I'm not going to use Pro Football Focus. I like Pro Football Focus, but man, their coverage this year has been so far off of consensus. Like I don't need every draft analyst out there to be exactly the same. But when you are telling me that you're 2 rounds different from the consensus, I have a hard time. I just have a hard time like believing that that's the correct interpretation of how things are actually going to go. So we're going to use Pro Football Network, which I think does a very good job of at least making chalk draft picks. And so what I mean by that is basically like it makes sense to me. Okay, so let's shut that down. Let's go back up to the top here. Let's just try to go through these results here. Titans took Cam Ward. Makes a lot of sense. Browns took Travis Hunter. I also think that makes a lot of sense. I'll bet he's more of a wide receiver than he is a corner for them. Giants took Abdul Carter. This is a little bit different. Patriots, I like the position quite a lot. I like the player quite a lot. I don't know that he'll go above Will Campbell, but that's interesting. There's a lot of buzz right now about the Jacksonville Jaguars taking Ashton Jeanty at 5. And I know that the NFL we have swung the pendulum back a little bit on running backs and their importance. It hasn't shown up in what they're paying running backs. But to combat the Vic Fangio too high shell defense where you don't want to get beat deep, not give up explosive plays, people are moving back towards more effective running games and putting more resources into it. And Ashton Jeanty this is a very high resource to put into your running game. My only problem with this is I suppose I have 2 problems. Number one, it's a running back at 5. I'm just going to die on that hill. Number 2, they don't have a good line. So, I mean, I'm of the opinion if you want to have a good running game, go get a good offensive line. And then you can put a 3rd round guy back there and be productive. And if your roster and its construction allows you to make a move like this at some point, okay, I could see it. But I don't think Jacksonville is there. So that's my problem with that pick. Will Johnson to the Raiders. I like Will Johnson. I'm a supporter of Will Johnson. I watched him play for 3 years. I wish he played more of this last year. He had foot and ankle injuries, so that's a bummer. I believe in him. I think this is a good pick for the Raiders. I'm probably going to guess that during the actual draft, Jahdae Barron from Texas ends up going as CB1. Love this move for the Jets. Yet again, I think it's the Jacksonville Jaguars taking passing on the right defensive lineman for them. enables the Jets to get pick up a guy that's going to play next to Quinnen Williams. Carolina taking Tedoroa McMillan. I understand it. You want to surround a young quarterback with good weapons. This is a lot of really young receivers on this team. Not sure I like it. I think maybe it's too much in one spot. Shamar Stewart to New Orleans. I understand, like, they need defensive linemen. I like their edges. They have Curtis Granderson and the kid from Ohio State who played in Washington and then in San Francisco. Chase Young got there. So whose spot does Shamar Stewart take? I would have liked this better if it was an interior defensive lineman, and I believe that Sanders is still on the board. So I'm not a huge fan of this pick, just because it's, I think, the wrong position for what this team needs. So it makes sense that it would be New Orleans pick. So Chicago taking Will Campbell here. This would mean that he's going to be their new left tackle, their current left tackle, who's played well enough, I assume. I think you make this pick if you don't believe in that guy. But this would bookend their offensive line. They traded for 2 guards and they signed a center. So they would have a unit for at least a year. We'll see what happens with Joe Thuney. We'll see what happens with Jonah Jackson and Drew Dahlman. But Jalen Walker it says linebacker, but I'm betting it's an edge rusher. They can, I guess, use another edge rusher across from Nick Bosa. He's arguably the best pass rusher in the NFL, so I'm not 100% on that one. But this is a computer. Texans taking Jahdae Barron. You have 2 $90 million corners that you're paying in Diggs and Duran Gilbert. That's wrong. So is he your nickel? I mean, 12 is high for he can do a lot of stuff, but like, I think this is high for a corner when they have problems stopping the run. They don't know who's across from Micah Parsons. They have to try and extend Micah Parsons. They also have questions on the offensive line. They could use another pass catching option other than CeeDee Lamb. So would this be a spot for Tyler Warren on this board? I think they should consider it. Miami, this makes a lot of sense. Kelvin Banks. We just had Terrion Arnold, I think. Not Terrion Arnold. Terrion Armstead retire. So there's an opening on left tackle. Tyler Warren to the Colts has been maybe the most perfect marriage of position and team in this year's class. So this makes a ton of sense. Mike Green to the Atlanta Falcons is just a dedicated pass rusher. Now we have the Steelers moving up 5 spots to get Sanders. Makes a lot of sense. I think I'll be supportive of any defender that Cincinnati takes. Any single one. Tyler Booker at Seattle would I don't know that I like that one right here. I think I'd prefer a wide receiver. I could understand this pick if they make it, but I would think that someone like Tate Ratledge at 50 would be, I think, a better marriage of player and team. Malachi Starks makes a lot of sense at Georgia. Walter Nolan, DT for Denver. I can see Colston Loveland going here. Arizona trades up, or this is Arizona who had traded back with Pittsburgh. They take Matthew Golden. Okay. Seems like you're pretty heavy at wide receiver now. Gray Zabel I really do not like this pick. So if they intend to use him as a center, then I could see it. But they have, let's see, Rashawn Slater, Zion Johnson. I think still Corey Linsley is their center. Then they just signed Mekhi Becton to play right guard, and then Joe Alt is their right tackle. So this is a very significant price to pay to lock up your offensive line for the next 4 years. This is a great pick for Green Bay. Nick Skirton. It's mirrors what they've done year in, year out. They take offensive linemen or defensive players in the draft. Michael Williams, Georgia, another makes a lot of sense. I hate seeing both those guys come off the board. This makes sense. Josh Simmons, left tackle. They just traded Laramie Tunstall, which I don't understand at all. I like this player a ton. I don't like him to the Rams. So you have made 4 high priority selections for your new defensive line after the Aaron Donald retirement. They need another wide receiver. They need linebacker help. Like, this would be a lovely Jihad Campbell place. You could corner is a heavy need. Like, just not another defensive lineman. Colston Loveland to the Ravens is an interesting pick. I have a hard time seeing it, but maybe they convert him into a big wide receiver. What else? Oh, now we've got Detroit on the clock. So we have team needs: edge, guard, corner. Don't believe that. Don't believe that corner is the need. Safety. That's backup maybe. And wide receiver. So I'm not going to take James Pierce. I could take Donovan Ezuraku. Or Jihad Campbell. So let's see what we've been offered. We can trade down 1 pick, and we can give up a 7th round pick for a 3rd round pick next year. Seems pretty good. We can trade back 19 spots and our 2nd round. Wait, that is a 4th round pick for Pitt's and Arizona's 2nd round pick. I do kind of like that. Stockpiling 2nd round picks. I'm a big believer in the 2nd round. Or we can trade down 5 spots and pick up a 2nd round pick next year. This is so easy for me. I mean, to get a 3rd round pick for basically 1 spot. I mean, if they take Ezuraku, I'll take Campbell. If they take Campbell, I'll take Ezuraku. So they took Abuka. So now we've gone down 1 pick. So I don't believe in doing stuff like this. Like, I just don't believe that, like, in reality, a team is going to be offered to trade out of their picks on successive picks. Let's see. I want to draft an edge, and it looks like they're all gone. So at this point, if we're going to talk about edge, at this point, I think my favorite prospect for Detroit. Hey, what's up, Kenny? I'm not mad about Jalen Walker. So, Kenny, let me ask you this. At Georgia, Jalen Walker didn't exclusively play linebacker. He didn't exclusively play edge. I imagine that if a team like the Niners draft him at, 11, that they're going to dedicate him to 1 spot. So let's just say that's edge rusher. Like, do you have any qualms about him warming up to his new position? You know, like, I don't know that he'll come out of the gate screaming, that type of thing. What's your opinion? If I take Jihad Campbell, I'm taking him to, and Anzalone's walking next year. And I'm not directly addressing the defense that's on the field. If I take Ezuraku, I could have another player that could. He is good in run support, and he knows how to get to the quarterback. Let's see. Additionally, while he has good tools overall, he doesn't quite have elite size-adjusted speed and burst. Still is a stand-up outside linebacker in a base 3-4. Ezuraku has the skill set to be a solid starter fairly early in his career, particularly on pass rushing downs. So is this the kind of thing where you take Donovan Ezuraku and you go something like the lineup in the first part of the year will probably be Hutch, Onwuzurike, Reader, and then like Pascal. first and second down, and then instead you move Pascal inside, you take Reader off the field, you bring in Ezeraku and give him a different looking front. You can see that. I really like the idea of drafting Kenneth Grant. I think that he would be a good nose tackle for a long time. I like Landon Jackson. I really like JT Tuimoloau. But he could be there at our next pick. So I guess the best marriage here is Ezeraku. Oh, Kenneth Grant went to the Chiefs. There goes Jackson. That's a bummer. Bears trade out. There goes Campbell. Wow, Campbell lasted a long time. There goes Tuimoloau. Shoot. Monmy Allen's out. My goodness. Okay, we've been offered trades. We'll see. Let's go back to the top of round 2 here. Let me check in with Kenny real quickly. He was a Dick Butkus Award winner for best linebacker. We think he's a better edge, but he could use the versatility. Jalen may not have the instincts to be a starting outside linebacker right away. We love Kenneth Grant too. When in doubt, take a Polynesian. Like, no kidding, dude. Like, those guys know how to play football. All right, let's go back to let's recap the second round here. So Cleveland, who took Travis Hunter in round 1, they take Jackson Dart here in round 2. The Giants take Omarion Hampton. Okay. Titans take Trey Amos. Jacksonville now gets their interior defensive tackle with TJ Sanders. So, like, if you drafted Mason Graham and then tried to trade up with New York to take Omarion Hampton, which of those two do you think is better? Because I think Mason Graham plus Omarion Hampton is better than Ashton Jeanty plus TJ Sanders. So I don't know. It's just my opinion. I would stay on the offensive side of the ball here if I was New England, but who knows? Maybe they're just going to be all about defense this year. This is an excellent pick for the Bears. This is he does get comped to Jahmyr Gibbs quite a bit, although people are like, pump the brakes on that one. Jahmyr Gibbs is top 5 running back in the NFL right now. I like this pick quite a bit. Jonas Avenaya to New Orleans. I like this, staying on the lines, drafting a big run-stuffing defensive tackle. Josh Connerly is your new right tackle for New York. Love this pick. Donovan Jackson, guard tackle versatility. You can play him wherever he's the most effective. It's another good pick. Jahad Campbell to the Dallas Cowboys. Maxwell Hairston is very, very fast. People like his ball skills quite a lot. The Falcons are going to take a chance on Siobhan Ravel. The Cardinals have their ball hawk safety in Xavier Watts. The Bears got trade down, and now they have a big edge setter in JT Tuimoloau. I like this. Another defensive player. The Bengals are working on their secondary. Take a big physical corner in Azariah Thomas. Wide receiver, good. Trey Harris, big play guy. Carson Schlesinger is going to be a nice Mike linebacker for the Broncos. Ariante Ursary, the new right tackle in Seattle. Jalen Noel. Now, this is the kind of thing I like to see. If you're going to take Cam Ward, give him a guy like Jalen Noel who's just going to be open. I'm so tired of seeing people being like, Jim Harbaugh, therefore he took a Michigan player. Like, it's like NFL media analysts can just take, it's like, oh, we can just take a pick off and it can just be easy. So we'll just match up any Michigan player and put him with Jim Harbaugh, when like this is way more likely. Like, this is so much more like Jim Harbaugh to go something like, where is he? Oh, here he is. We'll take Gray Zabel, get my offensive lineman, and then we'll come down in the next round and we'll just take a really solid tight end in Mason Taylor. Good deal. Packers continue, like, okay, so is Benjamin Morrison the Jair Hill replacement? Darian Porter is a great big corner. He'll fit right in Buffalo. Princey Amon Malin is has a smorgasbord of pass rush moves that the Carolina Panthers can put next to Brown. Elik Iomaner is. I watched him play the Stanford and Colorado game, which was really entertaining, and he did really well against Travis Hunter. So that's kind of interesting. And then this to me seems like the end of the kid from Minnesota in Baltimore. What was his name? I don't know. But Zay Flowers, Jalen Royals with their smorgasbord of tight ends seems like a good pairing. Kenny's got more stuff. Kenny. Gibbs and Hampton. Yeah. Darius Alexander could be the third best DT. Could agree with that. I love Mox, but I'm also glad we're done with him. Yeah, you get a steady stream of them this time of year, like basically, December through April. We will see you in the wild. Yeah, man. It'd be great to play you guys again in the playoffs. You think you guys are going to pay Purdy $60 million a year? All right, so the Lions, well, we don't need to scroll up. We can just go like this. The Lions took Ezeraku. People are saying that Jalen Milroe is the best running quarterback they've ever seen. Hard to believe. 6'3", 305. Versatile and explosive D lineman. Known for a power profile and elite production in the MAC. He consistently disrupts blocks with his quick first step and heavy hands, enabling him to penetrate and stack and shed. And Alexander's versatility allows him to play in multiple alignments. From 1 tech to 3 tech and 4I, his performance during the 2025 Senior Bowl further highlighted his potential as he demonstrates dominance in one-on-one drills and team sessions. Alexander isn't the most flexible in his midsection, which can limit his appeal on counters and stunts, but he's well leveraged, long, and powerful with a hot motor, two-phase player with elite explosive capacity. He's an older rookie, but he can be a quality starter early in his career. So, I know the Lions like to run stunts, and they did a lot of it once Hutch went down. But all that sounds really good. So to me, this is what do you do? Do you want to take an interior 1 to 3 tech to, complement or, eventually replace, maybe DJ Reader replacement. Maybe he gets a bunch of packages with him at 3 tech or him at nose tackle and he's flip-flopped with McNeil. I think this pick has to be Tate Ratledge. It just makes too many sense. I really would like to take Jaden Higgins or even Kyle Williams here or Jack Besh. I wish I had 6 picks in the second round because there's so many of these guys that I really like. But I just think that the offensive line is so much the beating heart of the Detroit Lions that if you don't keep it healthy, the whole car it's really terrible. It's so bad. Hopefully not paying him $48 million. See, I'm not sold on. Are you talking about Olufemi Oladejo, the pass rusher from UCLA? Kenny, because I'm not. He's only got 10 games at edge in his entire career, and he was a linebacker, right? So I mean, I don't have a problem with him, but if the Lions are going to take him, it's to turn him into an edge rusher full time, and I just don't know how many projects they can have on their team at any one time because we've already got Vaki says that he needs 1,000 snaps before he feels comfortable playing running back. Can he be the third running back on this team? Or is he just a dedicated special teamer? What other project? You got Broderick Martin. You got at nose tackle. You've got Giovanni Manu at tackle. What other projects do we have? Do we have any others? I don't think so. Okay, so we have Davin Ezeraku and Tate Ratledge. Okay, so now what? I very much like Torrey Horton. They had Jonas Sanker in for a top 30 visit. I love Noel Williams. Dylan Fairchild is another good player. Okay, let's see. I want to take Torrey Horton. He is potentially big enough to do some of the. He's potentially big enough to do some of the Tim Patrick stuff, and he is potentially fast enough to do the Jameson Williams stuff. So I almost want to call him like a wide receiver ZX. And I just don't know what role he would fill. It might just depend on who's on the roster. Let's see. Is there any, let's pause real quick here. Is there anybody the Lions would trade up for? Trade. Jack Sawyer's right where he belongs, down here in the 130s. I don't know. Resume draft. He's super smart. Yeah, he was originally ranked as a 7th round pick. Now look where he is. Like, I mean, that's real, right? I mean, like, in the draft, you're drafting for traits, right? You're drafting for projection. You're not drafting based upon wins and losses or production even. I mean, those are nice things. I'm certain there are teams that value them more highly than others, but this is like the Shamar Stewart debate, right? Shamar Stewart is a huge, freakish dude and like disruptive, crushes the pocket, but doesn't get sacks. But like when I hope that he drops because I think he does everything the Lions want out of a Marcus Davenport type across Rain Hutchinson. I don't remember what team it was against. It may have been against like a FCS school, but like there is a clip where Shamar Stewart is rushing and he has got a guard in his left hand and a left tackle in his right hand, and he is pushing them both backwards. It's kind of insane to watch, you know? And so I really think that's about all they need him to do in his rookie season. Like, and then like get into the system, learn his role, develop his body. So I'm going 2nd round of Kuiper's last mock, which I know most people don't love Mel, but pressures are almost as good as sex. So are we talking Stewart or are we talking Oladeo? Because if it was Oladeo, what I would say is somebody's taking a bet on his upside, right? And if it was Stewart, I would say somebody is not convinced that he is going to realize his potential. Okay, here we are at pick 130. We're the heart of round 4. And we have taken Davin Ezeraku, pass rusher, Tate Ratledge, guard, Torrey Horton, wide receiver. And I think we could use I think the Lions definitely want to stop the run. They definitely want a guy who could take over for DJ Reader. So I don't have any faith that's Broderick Martin. So I don't think that the nose tackle of the future is on the roster. I really hear a lot of good things about Jordan Phillips. I got to see him play once at Maryland. He's a nose tackle. I think he's got great leverage, can rush, strong as Knox, that kind of thing. But like a solid run defender. And I think that, like, if you're not 100% sold on Broderick Martin at this point, you gotta keep taking shots at the position. Olodeo, okay, yeah. So Josiah Stewart's going to be an interesting, I think, an interesting prospect for during the draft. Like, what did teams see him as? He's like 6'1", 245, somewhere in that ballpark. So he's not really an edge, and he's not even as big as guys like Ezeraku, but he's like in the ballpark. But when you watch him play, like, he played at a Big Ten school, and nothing about the way that he played, I think, would leave any concerns about his strength, or his, like, determination to go and, play against the run or get to the passer. Like, I love him. I think he's great. I guess if in order for him to be successful, he's going to need to go somewhere to give him snaps, and, like, I just don't think he's going to get the kind of snaps he'll require to become good at the NFL level if he goes to, like, Detroit, which sucks because I really like him. Okay, so here we are in round 6. We have this and 2 more picks left. Let's just see. Who do we have? We could take Jeffrey Bassa from Oregon, converted safety, kind of the Alex Anzalone type. That would be like another succession plan for Alex Anzalone. I don't know that Malcolm Rodriguez is a starter level fixture, but if you told me that, like, he's your backup will linebacker, primary special teams player, probably gets 450, 500 snaps a year on the field, I would be pretty stoked if he became that player. I don't know if he's a full-time starter. Mitchell Evans is a kid that I could see them being interested in. Brock Wright, I think, has 2 more years on his contract this year and the next. Good size, 6'5", almost 260. Thrives as both a blocker and a possession receiver. I think that they would be in on a guy like this. It would be their 5th tight end, but I don't know, like, a guy like Kenny Yeboah that they signed from the Jets is long for the roster. Like, I think that you could draft a tight end and be like, all right, camp battle, can you be anywhere from 3rd, 4th, or 5th? How many are we going to keep? I'm not in love with a ton of other guys here. Dan Jackson from Georgia might be a consideration. A lot of the players I liked are already off the board, so we're in kind of unusual territory for me. I'll take Mitchell. Last pick coming up. Oh, I can't wait for the draft. It's so much fun. It just takes so long to get through. Vernon Broyton is way better than his ranking. It's a draft simulator with good info. Yeah, I like Pro Football Network's simulator. I dislike Pro Football Focus's simulator this year so much that I'm considering, like, writing their customer service department and basically saying, like, I don't know why we don't have player profiles on the cards. I don't know why you are, like, a week before the draft, you put a guy like Omar Norman Lott as your 27th overall pick when every other NFL analyst has him as a 3rd-round pick, and you're saying that he's a late 1st-round pick. Shit like that. Like, I just don't understand it. Like, all of a sudden, like, Kevin Winston Jr. is a late one, and maybe he goes there. I don't know. But he's coming off of an injury, and no one watched he has no tape from 2024. So, I mean, what are we doing? I mean, he'd be the only player that was like, okay. I mean, like, so why isn't Siobhan Ravel a the 24th player in the 24th prospect in this draft? He also tore up his knee and has like 2 games of tape for 2024. Why? Why is it like I don't? And just to be that far off consensus is just you have to be convinced that you're really really right. Okay, our last pick in the draft. I like Tyler Batty. I like Colin Oliver. Ooh, Sebastian Castro is here. We have not taken a backup safety. He will be an excellent special teamer and a backup safety. So all did. Okay, we took 6 guys. Probably should take 5 to 6. Ezeraku, Ratledge, Torrey Horton. Phil Needs, there's a path to the field for them. Jordan Phillips, Mitchell Evans, Sebastian Castro are all probably like dedicated backups. Phillips might have a path to the field, and we picked up an additional 3rd round pick. So that's pretty good. Yeah, so I think like Ravel to the Vikings is probably like I could understand that, Yeah, PFF had a ton of turnover. So they had Mike Renner left, and he bounced around for a couple of years, and now he's at CBS. And then, what's his name? Austin, who I just could not stand. I could not listen to that guy. He was so childish. He's at the Ringer doing something. And then, of course, Sam and Steve left and went to 33rd team. Anthony Treesh, who I think was their like succession plan for the draft, got hired in to lead the analytics department at Notre Dame. And thanks. And then so now they had Trevor Sikkema, who I really like if you want him to be like your main MC or whatever. But I think they're on like they have is it Dalton Wasserman and Max Chadwick doing a lot of their football coverage now. And I just think that Wasserman might be smart, but like right now he is just so all over the place. Like it's just like, oh, the Lions need an edge. The top edge on the board is this guy. So that's a good pairing. Like, oh, good pick. You know your stuff, man. That's why I appreciate that, Kenny. I appreciate that. Well, I don't know how much of like this stuff I would say like I quote unquote know. I mean, it's just like I've spent most of my life watching the draft and have gone through I watched Mel Kiper for years, and then him and Todd McShay. But like Mel has a very, very, I guess I would say arrogant personality. And it just wears on me after a while, and I just can't handle it. And then Todd McShay, I liked for years because he was like the same person compared to Mel Kiper. And that really helped me. But now, like, he's doing his own show, like on YouTube or whatever. And he's basically just like doing all the like click on me shit. And oh man, I get so tired of that. And then Renner went to CBS, but he's not the lead guy over there, and he has to share time. And the other people over there are hard to watch. NFL Network's got Daniel Jeremiah and Bucky Brooks, but then they have guys like MJD who are just like, oh, I'll just do this. This is like a random thing that I thought of, so I'll put it on I value like intelligent, logical analysis, and that's so hard to come by now. Everybody's out there just being like, yeah, I'll put Gene T at 5, or this would be fun, or the viewers want this. And I'm like, it doesn't matter what the viewers want. What do you think the team's going to do? Like, I'm trying to get better at this. More like Weatherman. Yeah. I'll give the Weatherman this. They're not wrong that much, If you told me right now, if a genie popped out of a bottle and said, you can be right about the NFL draft as much as the weathermen are about the weather. I would be like, sign me up, because I would be the number one. I would be the number one NFL draft expert on earth. Dane Brugler would look up to me and I'd be like, "Hey, Dane, what's going on?" I don't know about that, buddy. So it's going to be sunny and 40 today. Showers later. Oh, also the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to trade up for Shedeur Sanders. So that would be funny, actually, like a mock draft show done like a nightly news broadcast. My mind, I gotta tell you, Kenny, like the way my mind works, like I turn everything into like a weird joke. Like I'll put like, what if? It's almost like I'm trying to write like Saturday Night Live sketches in my head all the time, and it's like, oh, what if we did? The setting is like a local news station. So we're gonna kick it over to to weather now. All right, what do you got for us, Kenny? Well, the 49ers are in the market for a left guard and a pass rusher. So are we going to go Mike Green or are we going to go Tyler Booker early? We'll see you at 6 tonight, and then they kick it back over to the desk and they're like, oh, we're hearing now that the Tennessee Titans might be shopping the first overall pick. But we'll have to see. And then they finally kick it over. And now sports. And he does something like, the state house passed a tax cut bill today, and it's just completely changed. I think that'd be funny. Now I know what you're talking about with the compliment. I go with my gut a lot. It worked for me. Last I had Daniels, I had a Caleb. Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, I mean, in all seriousness, and I do believe this. My sister's a couple years younger than me, and she doesn't watch sports. And like if I put up a list of the top 50 football players and put it on a spinning wheel and gave her like a dart and say, okay, she's picking for the Titans, and she throws a dart, and whoever she hits, would be her guess as to who they picked. And then I went through it and applied all the logic and the philosophy and all that, and like all the history and that kind of stuff. And I bet that we were only like a pick or two difference on like how many we got right. Bucky was ranked 7 through 9 running backs this year, and he wound up kicking my butt. That's how it goes too sometimes, right? It's like you put all this thought and like effort into it, and then like somebody's like, oh, I think this guy will go with him for this reason, and they do, and you're like, oh my god, like that's so must be so nice to put that little thought into it and be right. All right, I'm gonna do a first rounder for everybody. All first round. Oh, Joseph showed up. You're not late, dude. I was just so bored, and I got so much energy because it's draft week. But you made it in the right time. So we're gonna do a mock. We're just gonna do a first round mock for everybody. I think there's zero chance. There he is. That the Titans take anybody other than Cam Ward. And I would be shocked if they traded the pick at this point. So the draft starts at 2. I know, Brian, was that the who was that? Was that 33rd team? Was that Steve and Sam? Or was that the 2-round mock that PFF did? Because good luck to you too, Kenny. Off to work. Hey, dude, I'm starting a second shift job myself a week from today, actually. So it's gonna be awesome. Yeah, anytime I see James Pierce mocked to the Lions now, I get kind of pissed off because it's just like, oh, we're just gonna pair up the position with the team. I'm not gonna think about it any more than that. Cool. Are we gonna trade it? Well, we're gonna see. We're doing all the picks. So let me jump back over there. So the draft starts at 2. So what does Cleveland do? They have Kenny Pickett as their quarterback right now. You can take the best player in the draft, and it's hard to get in trouble when you take the best player in the draft. I think he's more of a wide receiver on Cleveland than he is a corner. If I was Travis Hunter, I would want to play wide receiver because they make more money. They make significantly more money. But I also, if I was Travis Hunter, and I think he's doing the right thing by saying like he's going to play both ways and the team can't tell him not to. Yeah. Travis Hunter has the most legitimate case on his second contract to have a what I call a combination contract. So like I am one position plus something else. So a lot of guys have tried this over the years. Le'Veon Bell, Christian McCaffrey have tried to be like, I am a running back, but I am played like a wide receiver. I should be paid like the better of the two positions. I think Travis Hunter has a case to be like, I'm legitimately two things. And I need to be compensated like I'm two things, not just really good at one thing. So to me, the move here is Travis Hunter. I think I like Abdul Carter to them, but like it's not even a need. You know, like edge rusher just isn't a need. I mean, they have Myles Garrett. You need more than Myles Garrett, but he's really good. And if you're not going to take Shedeur Sanders, you're not going to take a running back. There's no tackle to take here, I don't think. Like he actually kind of solves two positions, so I just got to go with it. This is Abdul Carter because I think you just take whoever. There's two really good players in this draft, and it's Carter and it's Hunter. And if Hunter's off the board, you take Carter. If Carter's off the board, you take Hunter. I could understand them taking Shedeur Sanders, but like you sign two quarterbacks, even if they are both the 1-year deals, you're going to carry 3 quarterbacks on the roster. It's a real reach. I'm just going to give him Carter for now. Running back, wide receiver, offensive line. So basically the offense, because you have Drake May. I cannot get behind the idea of giving them Ashton Jeanty. I'm sorry, your O-line's not good enough. I like the idea of giving them Ted McMillan and another wide receiver in round 2, but I think it's got to be an offensive lineman. So I'll give them the number 1 guy on the board. I like Membu a little bit better, but like Will Campbell might be a Pro Bowler at two or three different positions. We just don't know. So let me check back in with you guys here. So I'm not really sure. I mean, if I was them, I would do this. This pick just makes the most sense on earth to me. Mason Graham to the Jacksonville Jaguars. If you took McMillan here, then you have him and Brian, what is his name? Went to LSU, great big guy, deep threat. They're not the same kind of player, but they are enormous. So, I mean, like, do you want that same kind of redundancy on your team? I can't give you Malachi Starks at 5. And I hear people saying, like, oh, they're going to take Tyler Warren or Colson Loveland and, like, get their tight end and I'm like, I don't even know that. I mean, those guys might be considered better pass catching options than McMillan. But, like, is that like a needle mover to me? The position I really want to give them is offensive line. I would really like them to draft Armand Membo and maybe kick Anton Hairston into guard, but then they signed Patrick McCarry and somebody else in the offseason, so it seems unlikely that you do that. So I don't know. I don't think that they're going to go offensive line. So, but this is just too much sense on Mason Graham. So I just took the best defensive lineman on the board. Genty, I I feel like Genty is being forced to all these teams in the top 10. Like, oh, like the Raiders have a good offensive line. So if there's a team that Genty could go to and have success, it's this team. Also, I think that Geno Smith raises the floor of this team. Can you give him, like, every time I draft for a team in the AFC West, my first thought is, how do you beat the Chiefs? And I don't know. I think that both the Chargers, I know the Chargers are gearing up to have their running game be the thing that beats them, and then a little Justin Herbert on top. Am I not sharing my screen? Oh, I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm so bad at this. Mike usually does all this stuff for me. Going the wrong way. Stop it right there. Good call out, Brian. Oh my God, I'm sorry. Don't you dare laugh at me. I will not have it. I will not stand for it. So let's see. Genty's gonna go somewhere, and that's my problem. Is that, like, he's gonna go somewhere. I just don't want to click the button. I just don't want to click the button. I'll just do it. Okay, the Jets. This is just too easy for me. You have Olu Fashionow as your left tackle. Your interior looks pretty solid. Like, let's just get your right tackle and just not think about the offensive line for a long time. This is another crazy team. I don't really like their wide receivers, but they have a lot of bodies. They just re-signed that kid J.C. Horn to a huge cornerback deal. So do you, like, give them Will Johnson, edge? Like, who's your number one edge? Like, they have Mike Green, and then they have Ezeraku and Pierce. Okay, so, like, this is exactly like the reverse of what I do. I would have guys like Scorton. So I would have it. My edges in this class are Williams, Stewart, Skirton, Ezeraku, Green, Jackson, and then Pierce. But, like, I'm coming at this from a Lions perspective, where, like, I'm taking shit like, character and, like, the law into account. All good, adequate, even. I just don't know what the most impactful player is for Carolina. I want to say edge. I want to give them Jahdae Barron. Okay, I'll do that. Okay, this is Shedeur Sanders. I'm not going to do we could talk about trades, but there's usually like 5 trades in round 1. Chicago, running back. I'm not going to take a second running back in the top 10. I'm just not doing it. Safety, interesting. So this comes down to defensive line for me. And, like, they have a nose tackle that they signed in Grady Jarrett. Next to him, they have Gervon Dexter. They signed another dude, I can't pronounce his name, Oluwadeyu, maybe. And then they have Montez Sweat. So you're talking about a rotational defensive lineman. So if I'm thinking rotational defensive lineman, I'm thinking a pass rusher. Walter Nolan. Guard, tackle, defensive line, corner. Guard, tackle, DL. Well, there's no guard. DL. So I don't want to give him Josh Simmons because you still have Trent Williams, and Simmons is not a right tackle. Kelvin Banks can play guard and then move to left tackle. What about like Derek? I keep hearing that Derek Harmon is going to go so much higher than everyone is predicting that he will go. Where is he? 42nd. This board is so fucked. I'm going to give them Derek Harmon as like an interior pass rushing 3 technique. This is Teteroa McMillan because you have to help out CeeDee Lamb somehow, and you just signed Dak to like this ungodly contract. Miami needs a left tackle, so I'm going to give them Simmons, who I can't imagine that the injury history is going to really affect him. I just cannot get past. If you have a bad quarterback, the only other thing that they could go here as far as tight end is concerned, it would be like guard or center. So like I think that this pick will come down to something like Gray Zabel, which I think is too rich at 14, or Tyler Warren. And I'll just give him Tyler Warren because I think he's like a super safe pick. Falcons, I would love to give them a wide receiver. They are missing a center, so this is also a Gray Zabel spot, depending on what their center situation looks like. Edge rusher and a linebacker. So edge rusher and a linebacker. Mike Green, Jahad Campbell. Which one are we going to do? And like, I think that their pass or their rush defense, their run defense got worse. They cut Grady Jarrett. So I don't want to just give them pass rush without any kind of run support. And Mike Green, I just don't believe. I mean, this says that he's excellent in run support, but this is in the MAC. It's in the MAC. Like Western, Appalachian State, University of Louisiana Monroe. I'm sorry. Like I think there's a difference between those schools and like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, so to me, it's a dedicated pass rusher. So maybe they just continue to chop away at that. Guard, DL, corner. I can see them taking Will Johnson. I could see them taking Kenneth Grant. If you believe that Kelvin Banks Jr. is a guard, yeah, you could do that here. I'm going to go with Will Johnson here. Any defender at all for Cincinnati makes a lot of sense. They could really use another pass rusher. We don't even know what's going on with Trey Hendricks yet. This, I think, needs to be a wide receiver. Like, they have picks 50 and 52 in the second round. And if you want to address like interior offensive line or interior defensive line, like those seem like fine spots to do that. It also seems like a fine spot to draft a wide receiver. So I guess it's just about like who's the best on your board. I'm going to give him Golden. So you've got JSN on the interior. He can be your Z. I'm going to give these guys Malachi Starks just because defensive back typically means safety. Running back, wide receiver, center, so Gray Zabel. Defensive line. I give him Luther Burden. Pittsburgh, quarterback, not realistic. Running back, not realistic. Tackle, which I think is weird because I think they have two young guys like going into years 2 or 3. And then safety, like I think they could use a corner. I don't know why that's not on here. I think that they could use an interior defensive lineman. I'm going to give him Kenneth Grant. I like that fit. I'm not giving Colston Loveland to the Chargers. Emeka Egbuka would make a lot of sense alongside that little scampy kid from, is it Georgia? Lad McConkey? Yeah. I like that pairing quite a bit. I could see Jalen Walker as an edge rusher. I could see, do we have any defensive tackles? He should not be here. Micah Williams to them would be interesting. I'm going to give him Egbuka. Okay, the Packers draft offensive linemen or defenders in the draft. So edge, corner, maybe a wide receiver. So as Araku's an edge, I'd love to just pawn off Pierce on him. Let's give him Jalen Walker. Have him be a dedicated pass rusher. Running back, defensive line, DB. DB is the one that matters here. They just have nobody. So I'm going to give them Trey Amos, who I think is like the most underrated of all of these corners. This should be a tackle. Kelvin Banks Jr. is a tackle. I like Jihad. So I don't want to take a defensive lineman here. Colston Loveland would make a lot of sense. Let's do that. Let's give him Colston Loveland. Guard, edge, DB. I'll give him Ezeraku. Lions. I love Nick Skirton. But Michael Williams is that guy. I really would love to give them a tight end here. Running back, guard, edge, corner. Let's give them James Pierce. Now I'm guilty of the same shit that I accused PFF of doing. Let's give them Jihad Campbell. I'm going to give them Gray Zabel. And then I also think that Philly is going to continue to fill out their secondary this year. So I'm going to give them Maxwell Hairston. So then they would have corners of Quinyon Mitchell, Maxwell Hairston, Cooper DeJean as your nickel. I like that quite a bit. So love having Golden off the board before we can take him. The wide receiver, they brought him in for a top 30 visit. I mean, if they're not convinced, if the Lions are not 100% in on Jameson Williams, I think there's a chance that we see a player like, what's his name? What's Golden's name? Matthew. Jesus Christ, I am losing my mind. Matthew Golden ending up in Detroit. I say that only because I have no idea what Brad Holmes is going to do. Like, he just constantly surprises me. So, Penei Sewell, Aiden Hutchinson, not as big a surprises, right? Like, they just make a lot of sense to draft at those spots, but trading up for JMO, going after Terrion Arnold, obviously Jahmyr Gibbs and Jack Campbell in round 1. Those are all pretty big surprises. So I guess the only thing, I guess what I'm really saying is I'm expecting to be surprised. So, but we'll see. We'll see. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can tell you that. I guess Zadarius Smith, I'm just going through Twitter right now. I guess Zadarius Smith posted a picture of himself this morning with his kids on Instagram where he's still wearing Detroit Lions memorabilia. And, like, I would love to have him back. I don't trust it to be close enough to JMO to be a replacement. Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay. Yeah, I can get behind that logic, Brian. That makes sense. Yeah, it is a little bit weird where someone runs a 4.29 and you don't when you watch his tape, you don't see him blowing past defenders, right? It would make you say, "Let me go back and take another look at this." Um, I wonder if Detroit decides to do something different with that Z position that he currently plays. Like, would someone like Torrey Horton, or if the Z until after OTAs. So you're not convinced that Jameson Williams is a starter heading into this year? Is that what you're saying? Hmm. Because I'm betting that he plays on the team. Well, he's obviously going to play on the team this year, but I bet you they pick up his 5th-year option next year, and then he's probably off the team at that point. Let's see what else we have here. The NIL stuff is I'm fine with it if it's something like 2 times a year you can enter the portal, but this is just during bowl season, and you commit, and before you even end up on the field, you're in the transfer portal. Like, I don't think that should happen. I don't know. The more complete the Lions roster gets, the less certain I think everybody like me becomes. We drafted JMO because he was comically faster than his competition. JMO was given every chance to earn. I think that, he had something like 58 catches for 1,000 yards and like 6 touchdowns this year. Like, if your third or fourth receiving option is doing that, like, you're so good at wide receiver. Basically what you had this year was St. Brown had something like 120 catches, and then Gibbs, JMO, and Laporta all together, each of them had like in between 50 and 60 catches for obviously varying yards and touchdowns apiece. But like, so you have St. Brown far and away your number one wide receiver in targets and in catches, and then you have 3 guys that are all producing at the same level, and so like that's 270 catches a year, probably closer to like 280. That's actually probably closer to 290 or 295. But like, I think people are being like, so I guess I don't know what people want Jameson Williams to do. Does he have to do what he did this year again to be worthy of the extension? Because like, I think that this year was just finally like him. It's what Kirby Joseph did, right? Like, Kirby Joseph was okay for 2 years, and then he played at like an all-pro level. He had a big year 3 jump. Jameson Williams was hurt. Then he played what? 13 games, 12 games in his second season, and then this year he took a huge step, And so like, if he's still at that level, I don't know how you don't extend him. You make a huge move up for him. He has a trait that you can't go and reacquire easily, and he's proven to be like a 1,000-yard receiver, and like, he's a threat all over the field. Like, if you give him a jet sweep or end around, or I love running him, dragging him across the field. Yeah, I don't think that he can demand top 15 receiver money, largely because, hurt, suspended. He had the incident in the car with his brother that he didn't end up getting in trouble for, but like that made the papers. What am I going here to do? He's making $5.4 million this season. Oh, that's what I was coming here to do. I was going to look at wide receiver money. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So right now, Michael Pittman is the 15th highest paid wide receiver in football. He makes an average of $23 million a year. And like, I got to tell you, if we are putting, I mean, do you think that Jameson Williams, he's probably not as good as Terry McLaurin, right? Is he better than Calvin Ridley? Devontae Adams at this point? Chris Godwin? I would put him around those players. I just don't think that he's done what they have done as many times. I mean, Terry McLaurin has been in the league twice as long as he has. But he's also making 5 times the money. Yeah, if you want to, I mean, like, you also got to remember, like, this is probably a year out, and then the wide receiver money is going to get pushed up again. So I'm comfortable. I mean, Jameson got somewhere between 20 and 25 a year for like 3 years. I think that's a great contract, especially like a year out. If you just gave Jameson Williams 3 years, $75 million, I'd be all about it. And then you can do whatever you want with him. So he'd be on the roster this year. You might be able to pick up his 5th year, sign the extension. Then he's in Detroit for 8 years. He'd be 30, and you can just let him go. But that'll do it for me today. We do have it's not really an 8-man mock. We tried to get 8 and couldn't find an 8th. So we will be doing a group post free agency, pre NFL draft, mock draft like we did earlier in the season tomorrow at 7. Should be a lot of fun. Hope you guys join us. We will probably start closer to 7:30. We will be on at 7, but we will probably start the mock closer to 7:30 to accommodate one of our guests. And then, of course, we will also be doing a live from Mike's house draft party during the NFL draft. So if you guys want to come and hang out with us for a while on Thursday, we'd love to talk to you, hang out. Mike usually runs the computer. I provide the entertainment. I think Brad can make any contract he wants fit. So it all comes down to how JMO does. I think that if he keeps his nose straight, doesn't get the fines and like the off-field incidents that he's had so far, and has another season the way they had this last year, I think he's in line for it. I'd be surprised if Brad was just like, go test free agency, So, but I do want those comp picks, so be an easy way to start generating. He'd have a lot of playing time, probably get signed to a decent receiver or a decent contract for a receiver. And he'd contribute to the formula. That's for sure. So, all right, I'm gonna call it for tonight. Hope you guys had fun. Hope to see you tomorrow. And let's go Lions. So, have a nice night, guys. If I can figure it out.